Hello everyone, welcome back if you're new here. My name is Bella and I think today is going to be the beginning of a new series on this channel. It's going to be the solo summer series. I feel like in recent years I have become so uncomfortable with going and doing activities by myself. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, especially after the pandemic. I just don't leave my house by myself as often as I used to. I love spending time by myself. I think it's a really amazing thing to be able to do. You can just kind of get reflective, spend time with yourself, be okay with your own company. And I think that that's a skill that's kind of been dwindling away slowly for me. And I've noticed I have a lot more anxiety going out places by myself now. I've also been in a relationship for 5 years now, which I don't know where the time's gone. That happened very quickly. I think a lot of people can probably relate to this too. I feel like you kind of have this security blanket. I have that with my boyfriend, with my family, with my best friends. I feel comfortable spending time with myself, but I just feel more comfortable spending time with them and doing things with them, and kind of give myself the excuse of oh, if I can't do this thing with someone, then I just can't do it. And I just don't think that that's true. I know deep inside I don't actually believe that. And so I really want to make a point this summer to start doing things on my own more. And so today we're gonna have a beach day all by ourselves. Maybe this can inspire you if you've been feeling this way also, to just get out of the house and take yourself on a little solo date. We're gonna talk about this more throughout this video, but for now I am so boiling. I need to turn this car on, open the sunroof, and get going. Wow, the upper lip sweat is so real right now. Are here. The AC in my car doesn't work, so I am all kinds of glowing right now. I am very, very sweaty, but we made it. This is the first step in actually doing something. Getting in the car and getting there is I swear, half the battle. This is something that I've been wanting to make a priority. I swear every single summer I say this. At the beginning of the summer, I always say I'm gonna make a priority to get to the beach as often as possible, because where I live, I'm about an hour from any beaches on the Great Lakes in Canada. Options are really endless, and I don't have an excuse not to make a priority for it, because the beach is probably my absolute favorite place in the entire world. I just feel so perfectly myself when I'm by water, in water, all of the above. So I'm very happy that I've finally done this. I've never come to the beach by myself. My phone's ringing. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I just parked.
Is it very busy in the parking lot?
Not really. There's maybe 10 cars here.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Have fun.
Okay, bye. I felt like I had more to say again, but I can't bear sitting in the car more and talking because it's so hot in here. So let's get out to the beach. I don't know if you can hear me, you probably can't, but this is the best feeling ever, doing something you've been meaning to do. You can't hear me. I always forget which way these go on. Wait a second. No, it's this way. Nope, it's the other way. I will never know how to put on eye patches. That was amazing. I'm so glad I did this. I feel like my hair lightened up quite a bit in the sun. Wow. that was just like exactly what I needed today. And I think this was a really good reminder to just keep prioritizing doing things that make you happy. Even if you have these thoughts in your mind that kind of like are enough to stop you from doing little things. It's not like this was a huge monumentous thing, driving an hour to go to the beach and spend a few hours there by myself. But it's really easy to justify not doing those things because it's inconvenient, maybe it feels self-indulgent, all of these things. But it's such a good feeling when you just do something for you for no reason other than that you want to. I want to talk about this more when I get home, but I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so refreshed, and that was exactly my dream way to spend a day, basically. I'm back now and it's the next morning. Excuse the slightly chaotic background. I don't have anywhere that's perfect to film right now. This was the best day ever. I was thinking when I got back, I had just as much fun by myself as I could have had with anyone else. And it was just a really nice reminder that I actually really love my company and that spending time with yourself doesn't have to just take place at home. You have every right to go out into the world and just be by yourself and enjoy it. I saw a TikTok or something a while ago that was something like, this is just a reminder that you have every right to be in a public space. And it sounds kind of silly at first, but I started thinking about it, and I think we do get like these anxieties, some of us at least, that are like, well, I'm not supposed to be here. Especially if you're by yourself, it weirdly feels like unjustified to take advantage of like public spaces or establishments when in reality you can take yourself to the nicest restaurant in your town, dress up in your favorite outfit literally just for you, and there's no reason to feel anything weird about that. I think especially if you don't live in a big city, which I don't, like there's such a weird, almost like taboo around being alone in public for enjoyment. Like if you saw a woman all dressed up eating at a fancy restaurant by herself in a smaller town, that might be like, oh, that's kind of sad. But I feel like in a bigger city, that's pretty commonplace. Nobody would really think it was weird at all. But I think if you live in this sort of like vacuum where everyone is so like one track mind about everything, you have to make a conscious effort to like go against that. And that might not make sense to some people, but I just feel like that's at least my personal feeling about the town that I've grown up in. It's very just like quintessentially suburban North American. So that's the first thing I want to say about this is you have every right to take up space in public. Don't feel weird about it. If you have social anxiety, I totally understand. I have dealt with social anxiety a lot throughout my entire life, and it's something that I'm really trying to come against after the pandemic because I just got so out of practice. Before the pandemic, I was working in retail, I had my own business, I was constantly talking to all sorts of different people all the time, and I think after COVID, I just completely lost the ability to talk to people. And so that's been something that I've had to keep working on bringing back into my life. I think just about anyone can relate to that. Just the other day, my boyfriend and I went on a beach trip to a different town that was quite busy, and we parked on the main street to get a coffee, and immediately there was just people everywhere, and my mood just like completely changed because I was envisioning this really quiet beach day that didn't really involve any strangers, which is unrealistic, obviously, but instantly my mood was kind of dropped, and he was like, what is wrong with you right now? And I just said, like, I all of a sudden have this really irrational social anxiety right now because there's so many people in the street, and like I don't want to get out of the car because I'm just so overly aware of like my body and my face and what it's doing and how I'm acting. And I think that this is a big obstacle that spending time with yourself out in public can really help you overcome, because you don't have another person or a group of people to kind of lean on. It's just like however you're presenting yourself is how you're presenting yourself, and that can be really refreshing as just a little reminder, like, nobody cares at all about what you're doing. Case in point, when I got to the beach, there was another woman just sitting there by herself. She didn't look like she cared, and I didn't care that she was sitting there by herself. I thought, oh, that looks so nice, that's what I'm doing. I also feel like it's really difficult as a woman to kind of try to find a balance between like doing things by yourself and being safe. And this is something that I've really had a hard time with in the past few years. I had like a string of events that happened with men in public, like right before the pandemic. It just felt like one thing after another, like being harassed or assaulted out in public. I guess there's no other way to say it. It really left me feeling extremely unsafe, just like being a woman in public. Like just being me in my own body felt really unsafe, and I really didn't feel like going anywhere by myself like ever again. And then of course the pandemic happened, and so we were at home, so I really didn't have to go out that much anyways. But this became a huge detriment because that whole like feeling of not being safe just added in and mixed with the social anxiety that came from lockdowns, and it just became a horrible, horrible, horrible mix. This is a bit of a side tangent, but I feel like it's important to talk about. Like, even if you're not a woman, there's so many reasons why anybody could feel unsafe somewhere. I took a self-defense course this past year, and that really like started slowly building my confidence back up again, like being able to be out in public by myself. Even just like walking around my neighborhood. I live in like a rural community that has a small subdivision. In theory, like a very, very, very safe place to live. And even at that, I used to feel like so extremely paranoid every time I would go out for a walk. And now that I've just been slowly like building that into my daily routine and just getting used to being somewhere out by myself, even if it's just literally walking down my street, these are all things that I used to do no problem. And I used to live in a much worse neighborhood than this, and I didn't really care. A few bad experiences can just like knock down your confidence so much. And now I'm finally at the place where I can just go for a walk and I don't think about like horrible things happening to me. If somebody watching this can relate to this, where it almost feels like irrationally paranoid, because that's where I've been the past few years. If you've had experiences that like can trigger you a bit when you're out somewhere alone, I would recommend just like thinking of some actual safe activities that you can do. Of course, bad things can happen anywhere, but for me, I reached a place where I was like, I cannot keep living just like thinking of the very worst thing that can ever happen to me every time I leave the house. And so there are obviously things that like I'm probably not gonna do. I'm not gonna go and walk around my neighborhood at nighttime when it's dark, because I live in the country and I'm a woman, and that just doesn't sound safe at all to me in my brain. But walking around at 9 in the morning, there's lots of people around, it's light out. Rationally, that shouldn't be something that I'm afraid of. And so little things like that is my tip for you. Small things that you can do by yourself that are safe, just to slowly like build your confidence back up. It might sound really silly and like dramatic to some people, but literally just going on a walk for 30 minutes a day in my neighborhood has given me the confidence to feel safe in other scenarios. Because whatever pattern you want to change in your mind, I feel like you kind of have to enforce a change with like a positive habit. So I would recommend picking something small that you can kind of do every day or every week, something that you can do that's the same thing every time so it becomes familiar to you. You can do it by yourself, because I think throwing a whole bunch of new things at yourself is maybe a little bit jarring if you do have like social anxiety, or like I said, if you've had bad experiences being out in public by yourself. Slowly building up to new things by doing something familiar regularly by yourself, I think can be really helpful. I feel like I took a very practical approach to this conclusion, and there's a lot more that I want to cover in terms of spending time alone. So I think I will probably make this a series. and see what we do next. But I think there's a lot to be kind of discovered about yourself spending time alone. So until next time, if you enjoyed this video and are excited about this series, you can give it a like down below and subscribe so that you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you back here next time.